Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. Assalamu alaikum. Subha al khair. This is Inja Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on the day January 10, 2022, Monday. This time is 3:45 morning. मैं सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर अभियंता भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। मोहिंदस मदानी। जनवरी 10 आज 10 जनवरी 2022 सोमवार का दिन सुबह सुबह 3:46। आप सो रहे होंगे, कोई बात नहीं। क्वालिटी, सेफ्टी, कंक्रीट, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, कंस्ट्रक्शन, communication, coordination, all combined together. And that's reason title is very complex but reliable. Quality, concrete specifications, civil and field engineering, life related to it, engineers and contracts, quality, concept, design and construction, and major is consideration of quality based on information that is given to everyone. And this is my profile, abstract of profile. You can see that my email exists here, suraj_engineer@yahoo.co.uk. And it also says that I am on roll of International Professional Engineer India for IEI represents it on behalf of International Professional Engineer Agreement, and also I am fellow member of Institution of Engineers India, which authorizes me to use title Chartered Engineer India. You know all this, I just repeat it because everybody should know about who is talking. And here's my phone number and address, but I request that better if you send mail to me, I shall respond in a better way. And of course there is another certificate, evidence, testimonials evidence that it is my certification of INT-PE India or International Professional Engineer India. Current certificate is valid up to September 30th, 2025. And this is certification as Chartered Engineer India, which is based on membership fellow Institution of Engineers India attached to Civil Engineering Division. And here is fellow certificate, as I said, FIE, and I am interested in talking about quality in our country, Bharat, India, and also concrete terminology, which I have been current in use, and I at this moment try to put off this online, and CE certificate or chartered engineer certificate goes also this, so that I keep only current certificate. That is actually not certificate, but it looks like certificate, that we have to consider quality in Bharat, India, and this certificate should come from everyone, every citizen of this country. And quality is a major issue. It's not just certificate is enough. What I understand, quality should be enough. No quality means nothing. And when I talk of quality, I talk of everything. And it is material related quality, it is product related quality, it is process related quality, system related quality, human related quality, machine related quality, function related quality. You can talk of quality everywhere from air to sky. You can say from human to product, because product is meant for human and human is ultimately consumer or end user of product. There exists a direct relation between two. It is ultimately human who has to accept, who has to recognize, who have to give certificate, though it's not in writing, it's in confirmation, it's in appreciation, it is acceptance of product. and one should feel pleased with product. And when I say product, it means product. It doesn't mean only civil engineering product or construction engineering product. It is every product that we have to use, and out of this product there are many products, and you can say majority of product or abundance of product which are processed or which are produced or which are manufactured, and this quality has related to that is directed to those products or those items which we are responsible for in manufacturing or in creating, and that is where engineering comes into play. Engineering itself is a domain which has no limits, though we have certain branches, normally 15 to 20, into which we have distributed whole domain of engineering. And these branches are of course very significant. These keep on changing from time to time depending upon expansion of styles of engineering. It's very interesting fact that in current scenario, engineering has expanded to those vistas, you can say, like skies, where there exists no limit. It's not only in our country, but also in all our countries. When you have certain unlimited or massive expansion, certainly there can be some flaws. Those can't be denied. Certain facts should be accepted, certain facts to certain limits. But if facts which we consider should be expanded and should be, of course, they can say stained, when we stain something or something is stained itself, there should be some remedy for that. And we call it better improve it or check it. We generally say if you plan something, you do that successfully, and when you do it, yes, of course there shall be some errors which you have to check those errors and correct those errors, or you can say, you may call it error or you may call it error related defects. If there exists error related defects, there exists error, then we have to remedy it, and that remedy is ultimate point that brings original quality. Of course, it is amended one, modified one, or repaired one, but we say, okay, it is quality. But we have to reach that stage where errors are minimized to unlimited extents, or you can say to negligible extent. We should not have a chance to do that. And that process, that stage, that milestone is very difficult if you do not understand what is quality. Quality itself is like engineering, you can say, just like we say engineering, quality itself is massive engineering. Engineering, which means to do something based on mind, based on technology, based on understanding of technology, based on interpretation of technology, and application, proper application of technology. And of course, when you do something, we do technically something, there will be conduct of research automatically. Even if you have plan for research and innovation, every stage itself result of innovation means we learn. We learn at every stage, even though we know about that, but we continue learning about that. And that's really very interesting point. Despite knowing everything, we learn, and that's great. So here I describe as major material, it's concrete, and we use it in the structures. Major requirement is we have to construct something, we have to produce something, and this material is concrete, but concrete itself is not a noun. Concrete is also a kind of process. We say, oh, this is concrete result. When we say it's concrete, result is concrete, it doesn't mean it is concrete material in that case. It may be it is having power of concrete, or it is, you can say, solid, definite, certain, reliable. In that case, you can say we cannot simply bring concrete into action or consideration, but concrete philosophy, concrete thought, concrete work, and of course, concrete material. So, when concrete is material or concrete itself is domain, we have to be very smart in acquiring that knowledge. Knowledge means not theoretical knowledge alone, experience based knowledge and creating more knowledge. If it is a major material, this means it's very powerful. It cannot be avoided. There was a time when only bricks were used, and before that there was a long time, long period, era you can say, when stones were used. Stones are of course concrete. Brick is also like concrete, and concrete itself is concrete. But whatever is required, whatever type of forces play their roles respectively, materials are designed. Brick is also a kind of design. It is a mechanical related design, I mean to say physical production design. It has also got certain properties. Same way, stone is of course natural material, it's not manufactured, but it's a kind of design that we shape it. Naturally, it has many limitations. It may be fractured one, it may be fissured one, it may be layered one or sedimentary, it may be volcanic based, igneous one, it can be metamorphic or likewise. And we use it accordingly. Process of cutting, fixing, and of course inbuilt properties that nature has put in, or you can say weather has put in, or origin of that. It may have certain properties, it may have certain porosity, certain permeability, certain tension power, certain tensile resistance, certain compression resistance. Likewise it has. Same way when we do brick, we can say it has got porosity, it has got some density, it has got, you can say, certain components in this, composition of this, and accordingly properties of this material vary. Here's the point when we have to conduct in-depth studies. And that in-depth study is an interesting one, and whatever which generally call specification. Specification itself derived from certain particular, specific, not general, means it applies particularly to that considered material. Signals are down, it happens. Well, now it's a major material and we have to be worried about this, to be concerned about this, how to upkeep it, how to maintain its standards, its quality. When I say standard and quality, both are related. We define some quality and standardize this. The way we want to have this standard is good quality, and that can be called standard, and there can be different standards for same material. Structures are part of our life. Structures, it's not only construction structures, but I mean to say those structures we construct, constructed structures. Structure in every production. Structures, you can say structure of our body even. Structure of concrete, though concrete is a part of structure, but we can say concrete structure itself. It's microstructure, it's ordinary structure, it's composition based structures, its conduct in long term or you can say processing or you can say production, how it does. Engineering material is a subject, and these engineering materials involve all materials. If you see that book of engineering material, you will find generally so many metals are involved. So all are not very commonly useful. Concrete, stone, bricks, steel, mild steel or otherwise, wood or timber, of course not very common these days, aluminium or you can say plastic, polymers. Of course then, because there are so many materials involved in construction industry, in other industry, and so much is there that it's very sometimes you have to be distant from all materials. Only certain materials are very important in life. If you construct building, if you, for example, what are major materials? First material is soil, which you generally consider very important material from understanding viewpoint, from deciding viewpoint. What is that? And that material is from foundation, and foundation is constructed in relation to properties of soil. Very direct relation that exists between foundations and soil. If soil is reliable, very strong in all respects, then you can do better foundation, economical foundation, durable foundation, and you can say it can be long working, long running. The soil is very important material, but it is ignored by many people. They don't understand soil and they construct something thinking that what they see is right. Same way, we don't understand concrete, we do it. Of course, we do same thing with brick and stone. It's a question of how to know it. Of course, you may say it's a question of designs, it's a question of materials, it's a question of construction. All this must be properly understood. And once we understand them from experiments, from tests, or from theoretical knowledge, then we have to define them. And that definition, if comes into your contract or into your technical literature, what you have to do, that can be termed as specification for certain job. And because you have to spend money on that, it can be said you have to do within this limit for this sum of money. So for that sum of money, you can see that description can be called specification, particularly for that work. If you do accordingly, we can say, okay, defined quality is achieved. We cannot say complete quality, defined quality, because we defined this. And if you can achieve it successfully, it's fine. Now, my point of view is that, my point how to achieve it. I'm not saying which specification we have to use. My statement is limited to described specifications or agreed specifications. What do we agree? What do we agree? How we do that? And who is responsible for what? Why do we say that quality is falling or it is dropped? You see, there's some general understanding, there's some general criteria for every product, every material. That criteria is common and it cannot be defined all time. If I buy something, I anticipate that it shall serve me to some purpose, to give me, to help me get that purpose or that use successfully. And if it does not do that, then I say, okay, it's not like, for example, I buy this service of Airtel or some other company. I expect that it should give me continuous supply of signals without any fault. Time may be different, time duration can be there, But whatever time duration is there, in that time duration, it should give me efficient signals, continuous supply signals with certain strength. But it does not happen. Well, I am complaining, that's true, but it's a fact. If this service provider cannot give me this, then what is justification in charging services? What is justification? That's my say. If you say, I would give you this range and continuously for so much time, you should give me. When your time limit is over, you can disconnect it. But during that time, there is so much fluctuation that they themselves, I think, don't know. It's something like even service provider is ignorant about or maybe keep silence. But sufferer is user. I am paying, I pay every month or whatever is their rate. But they don't give me back that efficiently. And they say, okay, you got service. And that's what I say. There is a difference, there is a gap in quality of service. Your fluctuations of signals to some limit is okay. But if it doesn't work, if my video is disconnected often, how can I say I get this service? I'm just giving an example only. It's an example. It happens with every service, every product. It may be serviced by government, it may be given by private sector, it may be given by whosoever. There was some saying long back that government works inefficiently and private sector works efficiently. I think that is all wrong. What I have been observing, now private circle, private field, private working, private sector, I think is worse than government sector, I can say. They charge lot. Every service you can say, they increase prices anytime. Nobody notices because they increase gradually. It may be a mobile service, internet service, it may be television service. Everybody enhances price without telling you. They think everybody can be taken for granted. Telephone charges have been increased, television charges have been increased, and there is no one to question because nobody cares for this. Though they collect crores and crores indirectly, but we don't notice. Means they are money hungry, they are not hungry for providing services. If we take services, for example, Tata Sky, television service, even if it's little rain, service is broken. Service is broken, but they charge. If it's internet broken, you can see this Airtel or some other service. They charge. You write to them, they will talk very well, they will respond very well, but they don't improve it. By chance you are lucky, sometimes for hours these signals work properly, and sometimes you are not lucky that record is not done professionally. So my question arises again. It's not construction alone. Construction is of course a bad name in our country because people do not know what is construction. They know only that construction which is visible to eyes. They don't know reality behind that. Major money goes to construction, we know. Other services are short living. As I usually say, construction world is long living. Construction world is different one because it gives you product. It equips everyone. If you want to buy it, you have to use that product for decades and decades to come. If you buy an expensive car, you may not use it for more than 4 or 5 years, and that efficiency. You may have to buy another one, or you have to likewise buy every material. No machine serves you for more than many years, couple of years, 5 years. And other products which are maybe maximum used for 2 years, 3 years. You can you can say those products do not value much because they are perishable, they are thrown away later, and there is much maintenance required within that period itself, within life period of mobile, 4 years, 2 years, 5 years, another machine, washing machine. These do not work for 20 years, 30 years, but in past if you see past decades, even there are certain televisions we used to work for 20 years, 25 years. There were many items which worked for many, many years, but now it doesn't happen because of changes in technologies, changes in materials, and various changes, and of course changes in sincerity and changes in honesty. People were interested long back in reputation, in honesty, in sincerity, but now people are not interested in reputation and sincerity. Reputation is automatically created by publicity. They self-declare they are reputed. Nobody calls them reputed. It happens. You have to appreciate yourself. Even though you are rubbish, you appreciate yourself. That's all. Like politics. Everything is politicized, in fact. You may see this. Quality has been politicized. Quantity has been politicized. And that is where we fall. Politics has nothing to do with this. But because politics is power. Can we come out of this? My question is very limited. I hold, first of all, government responsible for lapse of quality system to government may not be directly related, but they have controls. And government of all worlds, I am not saying our world, our country. And then I hold responsible human beings or professionals, because quality is not handled by owners of organization. If owner is educated one, qualified one, in that case I can say yes. Owner is technical one, it is consultative, it is consultant, it is industrialist of highest repute, where owner itself is professional. Otherwise, you can say only professionals of all ranks, all categories are responsible. And product is responsible, but product is not directly responsible. It is again, professionals are responsible because product is approved by those professionals. Procedure is responsible, where procedure is not directly responsible. It is professionals who define that procedure, what to do. Design is done by professionals, material is purchased by professionals, material is approved by professionals, material is used by professionals, material is inspected by professionals. In that case, how can I blame material? How can I blame procedure? How can I blame statements? These are all done, all created by professionals. And professionals at highest level and professional at lowest level. I can't blame workforce also, because workforce does what is given to it to do. And who are those professionals? And those professionals, everybody knows, are technical people, technological people who think technically, who should think technically. Of course, commercial is also a part of that. But first part is technology. First part is how to do better work, best work, all time, first time, every time. And that's what we and in this way we have to say that you can define role of engineers in each and every branch of engineering. But there are certain roles which can't be handled. But there are roles also which can be handled, and I'm talking of those roles which can be easily handled, and by virtue of that, quality can be earned, quality can be procured, not by payment, by efforts, by, you can say, determination, by determination for fulfilling commitment. Role of engineers is very important in production, in manufacturing, in construction. And when role of engineer and role of engineering workers is considered, when we considered all these roles, I think it is different world. Some people say management should be good. Yes, I agree with that. But what do you mean by management? You have to define management first. It's not undefined or defined. You have to create it. You have to explain what is management. I don't like such words just for use of sake of use. Okay, you use this word. Just like with the government. What is government? You have to understand that. Like, there are so many words which are abused, and that abuse is not pleasant, it's not meaningful. When I say government, it's the English word of course, but what is meaning of that? Meaning is important and not word. We say we expect, and also law says and society says that government has to take care of people, its subjects, its citizens. Government has to fulfill their requirements. Government has to do service to them to fulfill their requirements. That is the purpose of government. Certain laws have been established, system has been established, and government has to comply with that in interest of nation, in interest of people. That is the purpose of government. Government is not ruler of nation. Government is a service provider to nation. Same way management. What is management? Though it is gender related, I am not interested in that. Or you can say how to organize something. You can replace that management by term organize. Means how to handle it. How to handle that work, that task, which we call, is a manager, this person is a manager, this person is this and that. I mean to say how to do it. How to do it. Or you can say, in other terms, how to engineer it. Here, engineer doesn't mean engineering. Engineer means how to create it, how to produce it. And what if you say how to do it? This means you have to handle all resources. You have to use all resources, employ all resources, whatever are required. That is human resource, that is material resource, that is equipment or machine resource, that is technical resource, and that is all other balance resource, remaining resources which are required, which are to be used, which are to be included to produce that material. And I can say this whole exercise can be called organizing, can be called combination of operations, can be called combination of activities. So we can organizing, or we can say methodological approach. And that is management. Management is not something degree or diploma. That's only, management is different. Organizing, or you can say human involvement. How to involve human, how to find solutions, how to decide some approach, how to move. And this is what we can say, a complex situation. If we do that properly, there is no way that we cannot move qualitatively. Professionals and working professionals both. Professionals, when I say, it means decisive professionals, or who have to decide. And I am saying working professionals means who have to implement those. Both are professionals. It is professionals who have to decide all works except financing or investment, which is by honors. I can't blame honors where work of professionals is involved. If professionals decide no, we have to do it professionally, I think there can be no barricade to achieve quality. We should work about quality in a way we do about quantity. Everybody is interested in quantity, in production, in economical gains, in quantum of or value of proceeds that we get by that product, by those goods which are produced in whatever field. And since I'm talking of construction, I'm inclined to talk of construction, it's very important. So government role is directly that people should not suffer anyway. That is government role. And also its entrepreneur's role, it is individual roles that is involved in quality. Customer role is also very important, and that role is that customer should know what is quality. Customer must have a capacity to differentiate between good quality and bad quality. Customer should know what should be given to it by the product. And that role is important, but it doesn't happen because every customer cannot be knowledgeable but usable. If I don't know what is this product, I can't check it, but I have to use it. Simple, I have to use it. I'm not a technologist, I don't know anything about this, but I have to use it. Something should be known, that's what I say. When you buy something, at least if you do not know new, you should have some experience about how it can be used. Well, it's very, very uneasy task, in fact, uneasy talk also. These questions are very common. Until and unless we define roles, we define job description, we define, achievement of quality, how to achieve, what to achieve. When we say in contracts that we want this level of your activity, you have to produce this, you have to provide this, and you have to deliver this standard of quality. And that can be understood by professionals, that should be understood clearly by contractor and workers itself. And it is done. You can't say it is not understood. It is understood, but people leave it, people ignore it, and that's where problem lies in. And that's only I'm still inclined on that, and particularly engineers, civil engineers, in whose field this is very big issue, first issue. And if civil engineer is inclined to quality, I think others will be inclined to that. Civil engineers also ignore it, unfortunately. It is. Contractors are also like civil engineers because they experience in construction, and they should know what is construction, they should know what is engineering. And also designers, of course, they are engineers and they are master of works. But again, it's a question of experience. If I become a designer without any experience, then it's my mistake. It's not world's mistake. Why I did not learn it first. I think if I have some degrees, it's okay for engineering. Yes, degree is okay for entering into engineering world, but to do engineering degree is very, very small piece of paper, because you did not apply that knowledge, only got that knowledge. And if until you apply that knowledge, you cannot say I got that knowledge. You have to work for years and years to come, only then you can understand something. It happens. When we learn 35 to 40 subjects in engineering degree examinations, we have to forget them for sure. We can't remember everything until we use that. We can study concrete versus concrete. There is chapter, there's material and material engineering science, engineering material science. We can do what is engineering. We'll learn it, and that learning would tell me everything, but I won't remember anything until I do that. So you can say application of knowledge is very important. You have to apply it and see how it conducts. We can know facts only at that time. In books we imagine this happens, maybe this is happening, this happens. We know that. Somebody has written that. Unfortunately, the person who writes that is also not experienced one. Generally, books are written by professors, academic professors, and these professors never ever have experience in foreign, hardly, Maybe in overseas countries, in foreign countries, there are some authors who have a lot of practical experience and then they write. In our country, it's a little different scenario. You won't find public-related books written by professors only, and not by experienced professionals. It is duty of engineers to write something for public. Not for sake of money or for sake of royalty. I'm not saying that. Royalty is different. If everything is considered in that way, then we cannot live, we cannot survive, we cannot improve. If you just consider, you pay scale of money, how much money you'll get. If you keep money criteria at first consideration, you cannot do anything. And of course, that's true what salary you are getting as an engineer. That's not worth salary, but okay. You are doing very big job, very responsible job, that you are going to start development. And it's lucky actually. I find myself very fortunate that I entered field of civil engineering. Maybe lucrative, it's not that much. It's not that much attractive from financial gains, but it's very attractive from personality gain. That of course, civil engineer is very hard work, top hard work. It's something that you cannot define. It's something that you cannot even conceive this. But it is work where you have to use your energies, physical energies and mental energies, and you can say you have to sacrifice for work, because there is no system. It's up to you how much or what level of efficiency you can get, what level of speed you can get. And it is interdisciplinary and inter-people and inter-equipment, inter-resources world. There is no way you can define, you can confine. It is self-doing, it is self-promotion, it is self-projection. You have to move yourself, you have to use these resources, you have to speed up, and that's very important. And of course, there can be some lapse, I don't say no. When you are physically tired, mentally tired, there can be some lapses. Construction world is very, very different. It looks by eyes, but when you think about how it works, you are, opener, you are opening batsman, just they say in cricket. You are an opener of this development world. You are opening person of development world. You start something, you are an engine. You are engine driver, and all these bogies behind your engine are those who have to come following you. It's very important. In fact, you are a leader of leaders. Civil engineer is a leader of leaders. First of all, you are leader of your crew. You are leader of your equipment. You are a leader of those who have to follow you, those leaders, other disciplinary leaders. And then ultimately you are leader in society, how to make society better. That sort of leader. You have to make society, developed. You have to make society standardized. Imagine there is nothing, no development. What would be world? A forest, a jungle, a wood full of weeds. But you have converted that desert to city. That capacity you have, and not alone civil engineer. All other branches of engineering are involved, but first work is done by civil engineer as surveyor, civil engineer as cleaner, civil engineer as worker. One has to do that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like God's representation, you can say. Though it's too high what I'm saying, but to some extent that is true. Because it's sacrifice. It's only civil engineers who can tolerate sun energy, solar heat. It's only civil engineer who can tolerate thunderstorm, target humidity, who can digest all adverse weather conditions, who can digest dust effect, dust impact, who can digest all impacts of life, who can get up early morning and who can sleep late night, who can stay on concrete that goes on for many hours, and who can handle these people who never been to school but they are good workers. You have many roles in construction. You know designs, of course design is different, but you must have experience of construction, otherwise you cannot design in a practical way. Practical way means, it doesn't mean corrupt way, this means way of reality. You know what problems exist in your work. That is point where I'm saying you can change society. Civil engineers changed it, still change it. But of course, at the end, civil engineer is also human. That human attitude, that humanity attitude sometimes overrides basics of civil engineer. I did not know in beginning when I started my life, student life and then other career life. Really speaking, I did not know what is civil engineering. Still I don't know, but I understand that it's engineering of original work. It's engineering of original development. It's engineering where other engineers are given openings. Others professions are given openings. It is, you can say, kind of starter. Now I understand why name has been given civil, because it is for public, whatever public, public in staff position, public in official position or public in private position, general people, VIPs, whosoever. Civil is, it's like, civil can enter everywhere. Civil can work in army, in defense forces, in space, because it has to provide basic ground. It has to provide a shelter. It has to provide road. It has to provide all mechanism that can be used. Machines cannot work if foundation doesn't exist. Buildings cannot be constructed if foundations are not completed. So it is foundation. It is ground, you can say. It is ground and it is foundation. That is civil engineering. Because civil engineering itself depends on its own. Structure is very common in engineering. Civil structure, structural design. Means we have to understand first what we are. A person who can digest dust, who can digest weathers, that person physically must be strong. And also, physically alone, no, you must be strong mechanically. Machines are very important for civil engineers. So mechanical engineering world is also related. And of course, without electrical, you cannot do anything. That's what I said. Though it's very preliminary I'm talking, but it is related to us. So that's what I'm saying. What role is there? Ultimately, we have to consider that if you want something, we have to respect engineering, and engineers have to respect themselves. It's not only that we have to respect them. And again I say, engineer has to be serious. It's not laughing stock. Engineers cannot be laughing stock. Engineer has to be serious, because seriousness has to exist only when you think. When you analyze in your mind and you think, You have to solve all problems and you solve. There exists no problem that cannot be solved by use of mind, by use of contemplation, and by use of experience, learned experience. Civil engineering is that branch where ready-made products are not available. Ready-made products are not available. Even in structures we say pre-stress concrete or precast concrete. Those are only produced in some place, workshop or somewhere else, factory. But it's not ready-made. Only location is different, that's all. Construction is done on sites. That factory can be called a site, a part of your site. Why I am expanding this talk? It's very important. Time is very important. And of course, I know that you may be feeling bored some with this because subject is like that. Civil engineers are running away from civil engineering, and engineers are also not interested in civil engineering. And of course, reason is, it's money. They don't get good remunerations after passing engineering. And it's not because they cannot get it, it's because of some other reasons. First of all, people don't realize what is civil engineering. They don't realize it, and that's point, that's fact one. Somebody starts thinking, oh, I know what is engineering, it's just putting some shutters and concrete and steel and that's engineering for that person. But that is only engineering seen, not done. I have talked to many engineers. Of course, it's specialization field. Civil engineering is specialization like mechanical engineering is specialization. And that is specialization for people. Because volumes and volumes of books are available, research and notes are available. But what we learn only very few percentage of knowledge. And we have to gain knowledge in field. And if you don't get it, you can gain only when you are serious, you are destined, now I have to achieve this. I have to achieve this, that aim if one has, one can do something. And it's also true, as much deep you go into well of knowledge, sea of knowledge, you will start thinking, I know nothing. I don't know this, I don't know that, but you know everything. You think so before? You thought, oh, I know everything. But when you check yourself, you will find, I know nothing. That's where I say, seriousness is that when you know nothing, and you have to find sources that you may know something more. Means it's called quality thinking, quality approach. My approach is that. I am a quality person. I can understand it better and I can analyze it if I am given these parameters or I get this information. I have a capacity to analyze it and to understand it. After understanding that, I have to apply that knowledge. It's important, really speaking, very important. And my suggestion is, my stress is on civil engineers. Then don't underestimate yourself. Don't think what you learned is civil engineering. Of course, it's a part of engineering, but not exactly civil engineering. Civil engineering is learned by experience, by working in that field, by working on every activity. Design is also one activity, you can say. Same way, construction as activity, or a phase, you may say, if not activity. And both are important. Both are important. Significant, not only important. So we have to be smart enough. We have to stop thinking to divert field first of all, because what I keep in mind, what I see all over the world, Currently, civil engineers are not respected at that level. Don't worry about that. I don't need any respect from anyone. Why? I need my respect from my profession. If I, our profession is physical as well as mental. We are both. Physical comes at end, but mind works always. Mind of engineer works always, and when I say engineer means civil engineers, which include mechanical and electrical engineer. So that's different field, but part of that stays with us. Instrumentation engineer. Instrumentation is very important life part. Without testing, you cannot do anything. And it's not only for civil engineering or our engineering world, it's also for medical world. But equipments are important. We have to realize this fact. Well, boring is not good. I don't want to bore you. But I don't know what happens to me, believe me. When I start talking, keeping some subject in mind, some points are already there. And I try to find more and more points. That's where engineering lies in. I can't keep myself to available knowledge of books. And now internet is available. Everybody uses it. And we can find maybe certain reliable and of course certainly unreliable informations from various websites. And that is, you can say, kind of better service, better facility we have all over the world. We can get information without wasting any time. But that information we can see only after reading it or understanding it, to what extent it is reliable. That's what is. If we keep extracting information from internet or from some other source, we shall get more and more knowledge, and that knowledge is good one. Materials have advanced, engineering has advanced, concrete has advanced, and as much as advanced it is that we cannot grip it. We cannot grip it. We cannot comprehend it, or you can say apprehension is limited. Because first of all we think, why to waste time in studies, why to waste time in knowledge, what we have to do with knowledge. We'll see what's to be done and we'll do that, that's it. But no, you have to learn. You have to learn. Every day, every time, if you have got an opportunity to learn more, better to learn more. And that's what engineering says. I did lot of work in construction. I'm not saying I've done extraordinary work, but we did something, and I was happy, particularly in those countries where quality is valued and engineering is valued, and not in likewise in our country that is like khichdi, a combination of certain varieties of food without any definition. And I don't want to do khichdi work. I don't want to do some work where there is no definition, there is no strict title of item. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in engineering from viewpoint of every requirement. First of all, material should not be wasted. I was talking about certain dictionary meanings or certain technical meanings from some code that was from ACI, American Concrete Institute. I was talking on terminology of engineering. Terminology in which there are so many terms, and we had gone through various pages from that codal book, and it's really interesting to know more and more. Sometimes we use certain words and we think that's important one or that is worth remembering, but there is a long list of concrete words, and I think this list which I'm referring to you, I use that not always, you can say we have to use that in our life. Without that use, we can't do anything. Just like these certificates, you can say these identification pages, we have certain, you know, we have certain terminology. We were last day, it was alphabetically, of course it is. So we can say we are talking about certain technology like dry clodding, dry topping, dry batch weight, dry cast process, dry mix shotcrete, dry packed concrete, dry rotted density. We were talking about this. Still, it's not complete. We had to go a long way. And I think where we were, I had to find that also where we were. Dry mix, dry mixing, dry pack, dry packing, dry process. Well, I think we are somewhere at curing, I am sure. Dry drill pair, 100 pair did. So drip, so drop, and okay, we go further. And here is, let's say, dry rotting in measurement of mass per unit volume of coarse aggregate. Process of consolidating dry material in calibrated content by rotting under. Well, I think I was talking of something electrically, I am sure, not dry. It was electrical, I think. Yes, why should I waste time when it is known? Durability factor, dust of fracture, dynamic load, dynamic muscle elasticity, eccentric. Yes. We are somewhere talking of conquering. It is of course a fluorescence we had reached, and elastic design, elastic limit, elastic loss, elastic shortening. Yes, we had electrical curing. We are somewhere there. Yes, this is page 27, and I think we were somewhere here. Electrical curing. I exactly remember. I was talking of electrical curing, electrolysis, elasticity, and electrical curing defines its existence, its definition in a way. It says a system in which a favorable temperature is maintained in freshly placed concrete by supplying heat generated by electrical resistance. We have to understand it, and meanwhile we would understand it, let's also understand more definitions first. This electrical curing, which can be studied along with other curing, thermal curing, heat curing, or you may say water curing, whatever it is, radiation curing. Also then we have electrolysis, which means production of chemical changes by passage of current through an electrolyte. Production of chemical changes by allowing current through electrolyte. And what is electrolyte? A conducting medium in which flow of current is accompanied by movement of matter, usually an aqueous solution. Electrolyte. Elephant trunk. It is an articulated tube, or chute used in concrete basement. Then piece of aggregate, terminology is elongated piece of aggregate, which is a particle of aggregate for which ratio of length to width of its you can say circumscribing rectangular prism. Circumscribing rectangular prism is greater than the specified value. Elongated piece of aggregate it is, Elongation, you can say it is increase in length. Elongation is increase in length. And embedded length is length of embedded reinforcement provided beyond a critical section. Length of embedded reinforcement provided beyond a critical section. What is emery? EMERY? A rock consisting essentially of intercrystalline mixture of corundum and either magnetite or hematite. Different term. A rock that consists essentially of an intercrystalline mixture of corundum and either magnetite or hematite. Corundum. Emery. Then emulation. Emulation, designing precast elements and their structural connection to perform as if structure was a conventional cast in place concrete. I should put off battery for some time. It's better in my interest. Let me say I'll put it little off for 15 minutes so that it goes on better. It should not be stagnant. I put off my internet also for 10-15 minutes so that it can be charged again. Maintenance of internet is also issue. My laptop should not suffer. So my dear friends, we can say emulation. Emulation, designing, we can say, hold on please. Emulation is designing precast elements and their structural connections to perform as if structure was conventional cast in place concrete structure. Designing precast element and their emulation, designing precast elements and their structural connections to perform as if structure was a conventional cast in place concrete structure. Emulation. Emulative detail, a connection in which structural performance is equivalent to that of a continuous member. So this term is emulation. When you design precast element and its connections for performance as if this structure was conventional cast in place concrete structure. And emulation, it is while we say emulative detail of that connection in which structural performance is equivalent to that of a continuous member or monolithic connection. Monolithic, monolithic is very important term here. Though precast is monolithic as a frame, it is monolithic as a member only. So we consider monolithic like we do in cast in situ. Emulsion is something different. Emulsion is liquid. It is a two-phase liquid system. Emulsion. Two-phase liquid system in which small droplets of one liquid, that is internal phase and immiscible in and dispersed uniformly throughout a second continuous liquid phase, external phase. It's different terminology. Emulsion, a two-phase liquid system in which small droplets of one liquid, we can call it internal phase, are immiscible in and dispersed uniformly throughout a second continuous liquid phase, external phase. Got it? I repeat, a two-phase liquid system in which small droplets of one liquid are immiscible in and dispersed uniformly throughout a second continuous liquid phase. First one was internal phase and other one is external phase. A known load-bearing wall intended only to enclose space. Encrustation. Encrustation. See incrustation. So we'll see that later. End anchorage. What is end anchorage? Length of reinforcement, mechanical anchor, length of reinforcement, mechanical anchor, hook or combination thereof, beyond point of normal zero stress, in reinforcement of cast in place concrete, mechanical device to transmit pre-stressing force to concrete in a post-tension member. What is end block? An enlarged end, an enlarged end section of a member intended to reduce anchorage stresses. An enlarged end section of a member intended to reduce anchorage stresses to allowable values and provide space required for post-tensioning anchorages. End bearing sleeve device fitted over abutting ends of two reinforcing bars. Device fitted over abutting ends of two reinforcing bars for purpose of assuring transfer of only axial compression from one bar to other. And you can also refer it to coupler, coupling sleeve, mechanical connection. Endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. A chemical reaction that occurs with absorption of heat. End and therm is heat energy. We can say endothermic, a chemical reaction that occurs with absorption of heat. If you absorb heat, it can be said chemical reaction that occurs after absorption of heat. The absorption of heat can be called endothermic reaction. And engineer architects, it's a terminology of professions, and you can say then. And of course, we can say that here, we may say that easily molded mortar based composite reinforced with specially selected short random fibers, usually polymer fibers, engineered cementitious composite. Engineered cementitious composite, that is easily molded mortar composite and air and trained air, microscopic air bubbles. Microscopic air bubbles intentionally incorporated in mortar or concrete during mixing usually by use of a surface active agent, typically between 0.004 inch or 10 micrometer, 10 micrometer and 1 millimeter, that is 0.04 inch. Alright, so 10 micrometer and 1 millimeter in diameter and spherical or nearly so. It's called air entrainment. Air entrainment it is. Microscopic air bubbles, microscopic air bubbles intentionally incorporated in mortar or concrete during mixing, usually by use of surface active agent between 10 micrometer to 1 millimeter in diameter and spherical or nearly so. So it is 1 millimeter is considerable, but if you say 10 micrometer, it is it is considerable size in smallest. Entrapped air voids, air voids incorporated into concrete. So there are two definitions. One is entrained air and one is entrapped air. Entrapped air, air voids incorporated into concrete during mixing that are mainly irregular in shape, and that is usually 1 millimeter or larger in size. Entrained air is microscopic or air bubbles intentionally incorporated in mortar or concrete during mixing, usually in size 10 micron to 1 mm. It is, can say, use of surface active agent of this size in diameter and spherical, while entrapped air is voids incorporated into concrete during mixing, and they are that are mainly irregular in shape or larger in size. Engineering concrete structures designed for transmission, structures designed for transmission, containment or treatment of liquids or other materials such as solid waste. Structures designed for transmission, containment or treatment of liquids or other materials such as solid waste. Epoxy. Epoxy, a thermosetting polymer. A thermosetting polymer, that is reaction product of epoxy resin and compatible hardener. A thermosetting polymer that is a reaction product of epoxy resin and compatible hardener. Epoxy concrete, mixture of epoxy resin, hardener, fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. It's called, we call polymer concrete, we have to refer to mortar, epoxy and epoxy resin. So epoxy concrete is combination of epoxy resin, hardener, fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. So epoxy and epoxy concrete, and then epoxy grout. Grout consisting of an epoxy bonding system. Aggregate or fillers, and possibly other materials. Epoxy mortar. A mixture of epoxy resin, I'm talking of epoxy mortar, a mixture of epoxy resin, hardener and fine aggregate, not coarse. This is epoxy mortar without coarse aggregate, it's concrete, you can say. Epoxy resin hardener, epoxy resin hardener, fine aggregate. This epoxy resin is a class of organic resin, that when combined with compatible hardener, is used in preparation of special coatings or adhesives or as binders in epoxy mortars, epoxy grouts, epoxy concrete, and fiber reinforced polymer composites. So epoxy resin is a class of organic resin when combined with compatible hardener is used in preparation of special coatings or adhesives or as binders in epoxy mortars, epoxy grouts, epoxy concrete, and fiber reinforced polymer composites. Epoxy coated bars, a reinforcing bar coated with epoxy and equilibrium density. Here, density reached by structural lightweight concrete, after exposure to relative humidity of 50 plus minus 5% and a temperature that is 23 plus minus 2 degrees. This is equilibrium density. Equilibrium density we call it. Density reached by structural lightweight concrete after exposure to relative humidity of 50 plus minus 5% and temperature 23 plus minus 2 degrees Celsius. For a period of time sufficient to reach a density of first change, density that change is less than 0.5% in period of 28 days. So this is definition of equilibrium density. Is interesting one. Equilibrium density it is. We are talking equilibrium density at as something rememberable, something memorable. We have to be clear about that. Equilibrium density, how can we define it? Density reached by structural lightweight concrete after exposure to relative humidity of 50 plus minus 5% and a unit temperature of 23 plus minus 2 degrees Celsius. It can be 21 to 25. In this temperature range, we are considering period of time sufficient to reach a density of that change. A density change, the change is less than 0.5% in a period of 28 days. So this is the equilibrium density. Relative humidity 50 plus minus 5 degrees Celsius and temperature is 23 plus minus 2 degrees Celsius in a period of 28 days. Now we have equivalent embedded length of embedded reinforcement that can develop same stress as which can be developed by hook or mechanical anchorage. Equivalent embedded length of embedded reinforcement that can develop same stress, which can be developed by hook or mechanical anchorage. That is equivalent embedded length embedment reinforcement that can develop same stress, that can be developed by hook or mechanical anchorage. Equivalent fiber diagram. Equivalent fiber diameter. Diameter of a circle. Diameter of a circle having an area. Diameter of a circle having an area equal to average cross-sectional area of a fiber. Sorry, some pain. So here is equivalent fiber diameter of a circle having an area equal to average cross-sectional area of a fiber. Diameter of a circle having an area equal to average cross-sectional area of a fiber. That is equivalent fiber diameter. Angular stress distribution. Oh no. Yes. That was, how did that happen? I missed that page, right? Where I reached this nonsense here? It was 27. How could I reach here, I missed that page by mistake. So it is here, sir. Don't worry. I was here, entrapped here. Epoxy. How many pages I have gone lost, you see? Equivalent fiber diameter, and here is equivalent rectangular stress distribution. Equivalent rectangular stress distribution, and here is what it is. So we can say equivalent angular stress distribution, an assumption of uniform stress. An assumption of uniform stress on compression side, an assumption of uniform stress on compression side of neutral axis in strength design method to determine flexural capacity. Equivalent angular stress distribution, assumption of uniform stress on compression side of neutral axis and in strength design method to determine flexural capacity. Erosion, progressive loss of material from a solid surface due to mechanical interaction between surface and fluid. A multi-component fluid on solid particles carried with fluid. I repeat, erosion definition: progressive loss of material from a solid surface due to mechanical interaction between surface and fluid. The multi-component fluid, you can say a multi-component fluid and solid particles carried with fluid. Ethringite. Ethringite, we already had this. We have a mineral high sulfur, mineral high sulfate calcium sulfoaluminate. Good definition, good explanation. I'm cutting. Ethringite. Ettringite. Ethringite. It is, you can say, a mineral high sulfate calcium sulfoaluminate. Its chemical form is written 3CaO, Al2O3, 3CSO4, 32H2O, 32H2O, occurring in nature are formed by sulfate tank or mortar, sulfate attack on mortar and concrete. Sulfate attack leads to this. A mineral high sulfate calcium aluminate 3CaO, Al2O3, 3CSO4, 30 to 32H2O, occurring in nature are formed by sulfate attack on mortar and concrete, product of principal expansion and producing reaction in expansive system. Ethringite. We take this definition clearly, you will find ethringite here. It is here 32. Now evaporable water. Hold on. Product of principal expansion to producing reaction in expansive cements. Product of principal expansion processing reaction in expansive cement. Evaporable water. Water in set cement paste. Water in set cement paste present in capillaries. Water in set cement paste present in capillaries or held by surface forces. Water in set cement paste present in capillaries or held by surface forces. Measured as removable by drying under specified conditions. Evaporable water. Evaporation reducer. Now we have evaporation retardant. Evaporation retardant. A material applied to surface of concrete. Evaporation retardant. A material applied to surface of concrete before initial setting. A material applied to surface of concrete before initial setting to reduce of water, to reduce evaporation rate of water without interfering with finishing operations. A material applied to surface of concrete before initial setting to reduce evaporation rate of water without interfering with finishing operations. Exfoliation. 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 Disintegration occurring by peeling off in successive layers, swelling up and opening into leaves. Exfoliation. Disintegration occurring by peeling off in successive layers, swelling up and opening into leaves of plants, opening into leaves of plants, leaves of plates, like a partly opened book. Exfoliation means disintegration occurring by peeling off in successive layers, swelling up and opening into leaves of plates like a partly open book. Exothermic reaction. A chemical reaction that occurs with evolution of heat. Exothermic reaction. A chemical reaction that occurs with evolution of heat. Exothermic reaction, a chemical reaction that occurs with evolution of heat. Expanded shale clay or slate. Expanded shale, clay or slate. Lightweight vesicular aggregate. Lightweight vesicular aggregate obtained by firing suitable raw materials in a rotary kiln or on a sintering grate under controlled conditions. This is expanded shale, clay or slate, lightweight vesicular aggregate obtained by firing suitable raw materials in rotary kiln or on a sintering grate under controlled condition, and that we can say shale. Expanded metal fabric reinforcement, XPAMET. Expanded metal lath, a metal network often used as reinforcement in construction, formed by suitably stamping or cutting sheet metal and stretching. A metal network often used as reinforcement in construction, formed by suitably stamping or cutting sheet metal and stretching it to form open meshes, either of diamond shape or rhomboidal shaped openings. So it is diamond mesh, you can say. Expanded metal lath, a metal network often used as construction reinforcement, formed by suitable stamping or cutting sheet metal, stretching it to form open meshes, either of diamond shape or rhomboidal shape openings. Expansion. increase of either length or volume. Expansion is that. Then expansion joint. Expansion joint is separation provided between adjacent sections of concrete structure to allow movement due to dimensional increases. A separation provided between adjacent sections of concrete structures to allow movement due to dimensional increase and reduction of adjacent section, and through which come some or all bonded reinforcement is interrupted. This is a separate process. We call it a separation provided between adjacent sections of concrete structure a separation provided between adjacent sections of concrete structure, allowing movement due to dimensional increases and reductions of adjacent sections, and through which some or all bonded reinforcement is interrupted, or a separation between pavement slabs and ground filled with a compressible filler material. Expansion sleeve, a tubular material or metal, a tubular metal covering for a dowel bar. Expansion sleeve is called a tubular metal covering for a dowel bar to allow its free longitudinal movement at a joint. A tubular metal covering for a dowel bar to allow its free longitudinal movement at a joint. Expansive cement, a cement that when mixed with water produces a paste. A cement that is when mixed with water produces a paste after setting increases in volume. A cement when mixed with water produces a paste that after setting increases in volume to a greater degree than does Portland cement paste. That is expensive cement. It's a class other than ordinary Portland cement. When you mix water with it, it produces a paste. Once the setting increases in volume, it increases volume to a greater degree than does Portland cement paste. It may be K type, it may be M type, it may be S type, right? If you consider K type expensive cement, it's a mixture of Portland cement, anhydrous tetracalcium trialuminate sulfate, calcium sulfate and lime. Little difficult to understand. K expensive cement is a mixture of Portland cement, anhydrous tetracalcium trialuminate sulfate C4 A3 and S. What is that? Mixture of Portland cement, anhydrous tetracalcium aluminate, and aluminate sulfate and calcium sulfate and lime. So S is anhydrous tetracalcium trialuminate sulfate. C4 stands for anhydrous tetrachemical trialuminate, and this is anhydrous tetracalcium, that is C4. Tetra is 4, C4. Anhydrous tetracalcium, and A3 is trialuminate, S is sulfate, so it says C4A3S. Means if you mix cement with this C4A3S, it is expensive cement. So we can say also calcium sulfate CSO4 and lime CaO. This is expensive cement. I can redefine a mixture of Portland cement with tetracalcium and trialuminate A3, sulfate S, and calcium sulfate, that is CSO4, and lime CaO. The mixture of Portland cement and anhydrous calcium sulfate, that's C4A3S, and also calcium sulfate CaSO4 and lime CaO. Type Me expensive cement. So we have explained type K, that is C4A3S, CaSO4 and lime CaO. One is anhydrous tetracalcium trialuminate, sulfate, calcium sulfate CaSO4 and lime CaO. Type K cement. Type M expensive cement, interground or blended mixture of Portland cement and calcium sulfate, that is CaSO4, that is type M cement. Interground or blended mixture of Portland cement and calcium sulfate, suitably proportioned. Type S expensive cement, Portland cement containing a high computed tricalcium aluminate. Portland cement containing high computed tricalcium aluminate content and amount of calcium sulfate above usual amount found in Portland cement. So we have three type expensive cements. That is type K. Type K is tetracalcium trialuminate sulfate and CaSO4 and CaO. Also type M, interground or blended mixture of Portland cement and calcium sulfate CaSO4 and lime CaO. C4A3S plus CaSO4 plus CaO. Type M is interground or blended mixture of Portland cement and calcium sulfate. And also type S is expensive and Portland cement containing high computed tricalcium aluminate and an amount of calcium sulfate above usual amount found in Portland cement. Expensive component, portion of an expensive cement that is responsible for expansion, generally one of several anhydrous calcium aluminate and sulfo-aluminate compound and resource of sulfate aluminate compound. Expensive component, portion of an expensive cement that is responsible for expansion, generally one of several anhydrous calcium aluminate or sulfo-aluminate compounds and sources of sulfate with or without free lime. Expensive component, portion of an expensive cement that is responsible for expansion, generally one of several anhydrous calcium aluminate or sulfo-aluminate compounds and source of sulfate with or without free lime, CO. Exposed aggregate finish, a decorative finish for concrete work. Exposed aggregate finish, a decorative finish for concrete work achieved by removing, generally before concrete has hardened, outer skin of air particles. Exposed aggregate finish, decorative finish for concrete work achieved by removing, generally before concrete has hardened, outer skin of mortar and exposing coarse aggregate. Exposure class, that is designation used to describe environmental conditions to which concrete shall be exposed. Exposure class, designation used to describe environmental conditions to which concrete is exposed. Extender, a finely divided mix. Exposure class is designation used to describe environmental conditions to which concrete shall be exposed. Extender, a finely divided inert mineral, added to provide economical bulk in paints. Extender, synthetic resins and adhesives are other products. So a fine extender defines finely inert materials, that is finely inert mineral that added to provide economical bulk in paints, synthetic resins and adhesive or other products is extender. I repeat, extender, a finely divided inert material or mineral to the mineral added to provide economical bulk in paints, synthetic resins and adhesives or other products. Extensibility, property by virtue of which a material So extensibility, property by virtue of which a metal can undergo extension or elongation following application of force. Property by virtue of which a material can undergo extension or elongation following principle, following application of thereof. Extensibility, property by which of which a material can undergo extension or elongation following application of force. Exterior panel in a flat slab, a panel having at least one edge that is not in common with another panel. External panel, exterior panel. External vibration vibrator, extreme compression fiber. Extreme compression fiber, farthest fiber from neutral axis, farthest fiber from neutral axis on compression side of a member subjected to bending. Farthest fibers from a neutral axis on compression side of a member subject to bending. Extreme tension fiber, farthest fiber from neutral axis on a tension side of a member subject to bending. Exudation. Exudation. A liquid or viscous gel. A liquid or viscous gel like material discharged through a pore, crack or opening in surface of concrete. That is exudation. That is exudation. A liquid or viscous gel-like material discharged through a pore, its crack or opening in surface of concrete. Now, before jumping onto fabric and F column, we'll like to discuss, as I said, about properties of concrete, how it happens, and how to get seriousness in this. We're talking of electrical curing, right? We're talking of electrical curing. It's important one, of course, electrical curing. We have also, you can say, in this case, not only electrical curing, but also we have steam curing, or we have radiation curing. Radiation curing, this curing, that curing we have. And here is also, if I show you one page, you'll see better in that case. That is concrete steam curing. I just like to produce this on for your reference. It is here. Just in that place, let me take out a print and show to you. This is here is PDF of that page I prepared. I close this file better so that it goes off. Now, I was talking about curing. Curing I'll show you these pages, but let us first understand what I'm talking about. Steam curing. Curing of new concrete can also be completed by generating heat. Curing of new concrete can also be completed by generating heat, which promotes or expedites speed of exothermic chemical reaction to happen between cement and water for solidification of included aggregates, whilst concrete is maintained in moist condition. Providing artificial heat leads to increasing rate of gaining compressive strength, and this method is also called accelerated curing. This definition of steam curing, you can say something not different but something new probably, and it is curing of new concrete can also be completed by generating heat. Generating heat that promotes expedites speed of exothermic chemical reaction to happen between cement and water for solidification of included aggregates, whilst concrete is maintained in moist conditions. Also, providing artificial heat leads to increased rate of gaining compressive strength. This is also called accelerated curing. Then we have infrared radiation curing. Infrared radiation curing. Infrared radiation curing is also very important. We have to deal with this radiations. Method is also significant. Method is also significant to raise temperature of concrete. To raise temperature of concrete to be cured. This is infrared radiation curing. You have to raise temperatures of concrete, newly fresh concrete, to be cured. Rapid rise of temperature. Rapid rise of temperature at initial stage does not affect ultimate strength considerably. A rapid rise of temperature doesn't affect considerable strength, you can say considerably. Ultimate strength doesn't affect. And we can say also rapid rise of temperature at initial stage does not affect ultimate strength considerably. We have 25% of battery left. 82%, okay, no problem. Then here this method is used in very cold climatic conditions, that is infrared radiation curing. This method is used in very cold climatic conditions where water cement based hydration rate of concrete remains too low. So we have to upgrade, we have to expedite this curing using infrared waves, radiations. This method is used in very cold climatic conditions where water cement based hydration rate of concrete remains too low. A much more rapid gain of strength can be obtained with help of employing infrared radiations. With help of employing infrared radiations, then what can be achieved even with employing steam curing procedure. Infrared is further higher than steam stage. Much can say this, a much more rapid gain of strength can be obtained with help of radiation. Much more rapid gain of strength can be obtained with help of employing infrared radiations. than what can be achieved even with employing steam curing procedure. This technique is adopted in very old, very cold climatic conditions, climatic regions, and in this way, well arranged application process, in this well arranged application process, infrared radiation is applied to new concrete by increasing initial temperature, which increases strength of concrete. This is most effective technique, better than steam curing, as raising initial temperature in concrete does not reduce ultimate strength of concrete. This method can be used for producing hollow concrete members, where heaters are placed in concrete members which emit a temperature of 900 degrees Celsius. Electrical curing. Electrical curing. Electrical curing is another way to cure new concrete in cold climate conditions by passing low voltage, high pressure alternating current, by passing low voltage, high ampere alternating current, voltage generally being 30 volts to 60 volts, that is potential difference adopted, by passing low voltage, high ampere alternating current, generally 30 to 60 volt potential difference adopted through electrodes. Electrodes form plates cover entire area of two opposite faces of concrete. Evaporation is prevented by placing an impermeable rubber membrane. Evaporation is prevented by placing an impermeable rubber membrane covering on top of surface of concrete. And also says employing this method, concrete can even attain normal 28 days strength in just the period of 3 days. This period. In 3 days of casting, you can get strength of 28 days. At ordinary temperature. Steam curing at ordinary temperature. In this method, it's often adopted for prefabricated concrete elements. Application of steam to in situ construction shall be certainly a difficult task. For steam curing, concrete elements are stored in a well-designed suitable chamber. This method is often adopted for prefabricated concrete elements. Application of steam to in situ construction shall be certainly a difficult task, so we don't go for that. For steam curing, concrete elements are stored in well-designed suitable chambers. For steam curing, concrete elements are stored in well-designed suitable chambers. Chamber should be large enough to hold at least a day's production of at least enough to hold a day's production. Door is closed and steam is applied. Door is closed and steam is applied. Steam may be applied either continuously or intermittently. Accelerated hydration. Accelerated hydration affects at higher temperature, say 70 degrees Celsius, and concrete attains 28 days strength in light. You can say accelerated hydration is affected at higher temperature 70 degrees Celsius, and concrete attains 28 days of strength in about 3 days. Boiling temperature is not permitted. Boiling temperature 100 degrees Celsius is not permitted. We have here in large prefabricated factories, tunnel curing arrangements are provided. Tunnel curing arrangements are provided. However, concrete subject to higher temperature at early period of hydration is bound to loosen. It has been emphasized, you can say, that immediate fresh concrete should not be subject suddenly to high temperatures. A certain delay period after casting concrete is desirable. Steam curing is often adopted for producing precast elements, especially precast concrete, sleepers, or many other requirements. Very important process, and that is steam curing at high temperature. Autoclaving we call it. We call it autoclaving, that is steam curing at high temperature, not ordinary temperature. It's autoclaving. High pressure steam curing for sure is different. High pressure steam curing for sure is different activity in comparison to ordinary steam curing, in which case curing is carried out in a closed chamber. Superheated steam at high temperature as well as high pressure is found effective. So we can say here, superheated steam at high temperature as well high pressure is applied to concrete. This process is also called autoclaving. Following advantages are derived from high pressure steam curing process. High pressure steam cured concrete develops its strength in 1 day or lesser duration, that strength which could be attained in 28 days normally by ordinary curing. So high pressure gives you 28 times advantage, you can say. Current advantage, though it's not strength advantage, is curing advantage. High pressure steam cured. As concrete develops its strength in 1 day as it could in 28 days. Also, it does not loosen any strength at a later stage. High pressure steam cured concrete exhibits higher resistances to sulfate attacks, freezing, thawing reactions, and chemical reactions. I will put on my battery so that it doesn't exhaust. Be careful about all these things. The battery is new and I don't want to spoil it as well. So this process is also called autoclaving. So I said it doesn't loosen any strength at later stage, and high pressure steam cured concrete. High pressure steam cured concrete exhibits higher resistance to sulfate attacks, freezing, thawing actions, and chemical actions. It also results in lesser development of ablorescence, first of all, resistance improvement to attacks of gas sulfate attacks, freezing, thawing action, and chemical actions, and also lesser development of fluorescence. And steam cured concrete, high pressure steam concrete exhibits lower drying shrinkage and lower mixture moisture movement or lower include in this file for certain reason, and we go back to our, and of course I can like to show you certain files also related to curing, which of course are important. Curing of concrete, different types of curing, precautionary. I had this, and I'll show you that one, how it is done. It's important, and let me go to its files first. I tried to show you yesterday one, but I'll show you now again for better grasping, better understanding, better grasp management documents here. That is book facilities. Ensure that open this. Curing is concrete. So it is SA concrete project of C21, cost concrete best practices, cold weathering concrete, curing best practices. So one is this, let us see, let's open this and show you. Of course, what is it's cold weather concreting. It's different one, I think. We'll discuss it later, not now. It's wrongly opened. So let me open chemical reactions for the analysis. Cold weather concrete again, curing of concrete civil solutions, then concrete curing, then concrete diaphragm walls, different types of curing. So let's say, first of all, different types of curing. It's more important to understand problem. What's different types of curing? You can see this is different curing. Here's what it is. You can say different types of curing methods in concrete, and here is concrete construction. That's what's purpose of curing, what's purpose of curing, and what is factors required for curing of structural elements. And we have to consider what factors specify the strength of concrete, grades of concrete, temperature, size and shape of concrete members, economy, material availability, labor force, and in situ works. So these are the curing methods are Water addition method, that is curing method is, curing methods, water addition methods, water retention method, temperature control method, and we have here the temperature control method means it involves live steam, heating coils, electrically heated forms of pads, and we have here which one you have to select depends on water addition method. Then we have water curing can be done in following ways, and that is spraying or fogging, ponding, wet covering, immersion, and we have spraying of water, water retention method by curing compounds, membrane curing we call it, and of course temperature control methods, that is steam curing at ordinary temperature, steam curing at high temperatures, curing by infrared radiations, and electrical curing. So here is steam curing at high pressure temperature. Likewise, what is right time for curing? So this is that file. I'll close this file here so that I take another file to show you, and that is now here. It is, can say, that is here is concrete curing civil solutions. Let us open and see it. Also important one, because let us say what it says concrete curing, and there's some graphics shown here. I'm not going to discuss it currently, but just for information I'm showing you this. It's a graph versus age here, and it is compressive strength in Newton per meter square up to 35. %, up to 28 days and 1980 days, and if you see this 28 days here, now this is 14 days, this is 7 days, this is 3 days, and it's stored continuously in air, and this continuous moist curing, and these are other curings, you can say, stored continuously in air after 3 days. This is stored continuously in air after 3 days or 7 days, and after 14 days. This is dotted line. In air it is up to 35 newtons, you may say. That is development of strength with curing period and purpose of curing, method of curing. Method of curing is have some glimpses of curing. You can say, and steam curing, home, and this is your steam curing. You can say steam curing here. Curing by infrared radiations, and that is here. It's infrared radiations. These are radiations, And then we have electrical curing, and this is your electrical curing machine, and here is effect of improper curing. Then we have here just for, so this is over, we'll close it now, and also we have here certain other file, maybe effect of electrical curing of concrete on maturity, and here is effect of electrical curing on maturity. Let us see what it says. and it is ratio of mix per cubic meter source, and it is what is the preparation and experimental curing here. You can say electrical procedures, a view of concrete to which electrical current applied, and this is here. And here is hydration time and maturity of temperature based maturity of concrete with cement content 250 kilogram per meter cube source, and this is 0 volt, 40 watt, 60 volt, 80 watt, 100 volt. It's hydration time given. The maturity this hydration time minimum is same as maturity of concrete cement content 350. So first was 250 kilogram per meter cube. Second is 300 kilogram per meter cube. Fourth is 350 kilogram per meter cube. Here is one 400 kilogram per meter cube. And you can see these strength wise. And what's the relationship between maturity and compressive strength of concrete is given in this one. You can just later also. And here is impact of internal temperature of concrete on compressive strength. That's maturity based also. And difference dosage 250, 300, 350, 400. And it's where compressive strength map this way, and temperature maturity is Celsius. You can see how it acts, and this is curve. It says ultimate it is, compressive strength is almost same of this. Here is change of compressive strength of concrete, which has 300 kilogram per meter cube cement on different days in terms of voltage level. Here it is, and also it is compressive strength MPAs. We'll read this later on. I'm just closing this as of information I try to give. So I'm post now. So what we did is what we did here, something discernible. I'll put off this again so that it can rest. Now fabric. I'm going to talk of fabric here. What is fabric? Manufactured planar textile structure. Manufactured planar textile structure made of fibers, yarns, or both, that is assembled by various means such as weaving, knitting, tufting, felting, braiding, or bonding of webs. Manufactured planar textile structure, manufactured planar textile structure made of fibers, yarns, or both, that is assembled by various means such as weaving, knitting, turfing, and filling. So we start we explained here. Fabric, manufactured planar textile structure made of fibers, yarns, or both, that is assembled by various means such as weaving, knitting, tufting, felting, plaiting, or ponding. Fabric reinforced cementitious matrix composite. It is here we have composite material consisting of signals are down, maybe time, no, something is back. Composite material consisting of inorganic matrix. Composite material consisting of inorganic matrix reinforced with dry fibers and externally bonded to concrete structural members. Composite materials consisting of inorganic matrix reinforced with dry fibers and externally bonded to concrete structural members. Again, I say composite material consisting of inorganic matrix reinforced with dry fibers and externally bonded to concrete structural members. Fabricator, a person, a firm, or corporation producing reinforcing steel cut and bent to needed dimensions and geometry is called fabricator. Factor of safety. Factor of safety, ratio of ultimate capacity to magnitude of demand at service level. Factor load. What is factor load? Load multiplied by appropriate load factor. Load multiplied by appropriate load factors used to proportion members by strength design method. False ceiling. What do you mean by false ceiling? False ceiling. I'm sorry, false setting. I wrongly read it. False setting, not false ceiling. Like false header, it was header. False setting. Rapid development of rigidity. Rapid development of rigidity in a freshly mixed Portland cement paste, mortar, or concrete without rapid development of rigidity in a freshly mixed freshly mixed Portland cement paste, mortar or concrete without evolution of much heat, which rigidity can be dispelled and plasticity regained by further mixing without addition of with flash setting. A kind of that. False setting is rapid development of rigidity in a freshly mixed Portland cement paste, mortar or concrete without evolution of much heat, which rigidity can be dispelled and plasticized. And plasticity regained after further by further. So, false setting, rapid development of rigidity in a freshly mixed Portland cement paste, mortar or concrete without evolution of much heat, which rigidity can be dispelled and plasticity regained by further mixing without addition of water. Where which rigidity can be dispelled and plasticity regained by further mixing without addition of water. False setting, different definitions, rapid development of rigidity in freshly mixed Portland cement, rigidity, rapid development, that's of mortar or concrete, mortar or paste. Now we go further and false work we will define. False work, that is temporary structure, or you may say temporary structure erected to support work in process of construction. That is temporary structure erected to support work of permanent structures. False work, temporary structure erected to support work in process of construction. And fascia is a flat member of band, flat member or band at surface of building, or edge beam of a bridge, also exposed. Eave of a building, member of band in surface of a building or edge beam of a bridge, also exposed. Eave of a building, so fascia is a flat member of band at a surface of a building. Now, fatigue, weakening of material by repeated loads. Weakening of material by repeated loads. Weakening of material by repeated loads called fatigue. Fatigue failure, rupture of material when subject to repeated loadings at a stress substantially less than static strength. Fatigue failure, rupture of material when subjected to repeated loading at a stress substantially less than static strength. Fatigue greatest stress that can be sustained for a given number of stress cycles without failure. Fatigue strength, greatest stress that can be sustained for a given number of stress cycles without failure. Faulting, differential displacement of a slab or wall along a joint or crack. Faulting, differential displacement of a slab or wall along a joint or crack. Feeder edge, edge of concrete or mortar, edge of a concrete or mortar patch or topping, edge of a concrete or mortar patch or topping that is beveled at an acute angle. Feeder edge of concrete or mortar patch or topping that is beveled at an acute angle. Feed wheel, material distributor or regulator in certain types of shotcrete equipment. Ferro cement, a composite structural material comprising thin sections consisting of cement mortar reinforced by a numerous closely spaced layers of steel wire mesh. Ferro cement, a composite structural material comprising thin sections consisting of cement mortar reinforced by numerous closely spaced layers of steel wire mesh. That is ferro cement version. Fiber is slender and elongated solid material. Generally with a length at least 100 times its diameter. Fiber is slender and elongated solid material, generally with a length at least 100 times its diameter. Fiber. I think it can be here. Fiber aspect ratio, ratio of length to diameter. Fiber aspect ratio, ratio of length to diameter of a fiber in which diameter may be an equivalent diameter. Fiber count, number of fibers in a unit volume of fiber reinforced concrete. Number of fibers in a unit volume of fiber reinforced concrete. Fiber reinforced concrete, concrete containing dispersed randomly oriented fibers. Concrete containing dispersed randomly oriented fibers. Fiber reinforced concrete both. Fiber reinforced concrete. Concrete, there is fiber reinforced concrete. Concrete containing dispersed randomly oriented fibers, that is fiber reinforced concrete FRC, concrete containing dispersed randomly oriented fibers, fiber reinforced polymers, a general term for a composite material composing of composing a polymer matrix reinforced polymer matrix fiber and fiber reinforced polymer is great general term for a composite material comprising polymer matrix reinforced with fibers in form of fabric, mat, strands or other fiber forms. At site or at job site. Well, all right, then we can say fiber is you can say for field bending is bending of reinforcing bars at job site rather than fabrication shop. And field concrete is concrete delivered to or mixed, placed and cured on job site. That is field concrete delivered to a mixed, placed and cured on job site. Field cured cylinders, test cylinders that are left at job site for curing, that is field cured cylinders, test cylinders that are left at job site for curing as nearly as practicable in same manner as in concrete in structure to indicate when supporting forms may be removed, additional construction loads may be imposed on or structure may be placed in services. I will say field cured cylinders, test cylinders that are left at job site for curing as early as practicable. Now, field curing is test cylinders that are left at job site for curing as nearly as practicable in same manner as concrete in structure to indicate when supporting forms may be removed, additional construction loads may be imposed or the structure may be placed in service. Field proportion grout. A hydraulic cement grout. You can say a hydraulic cement grout, that's field proportion grout. A hydraulic cement grout batched at job site. A hydraulic cement grout batched at job site using water and predetermined portions of hydraulic cement. A hydraulic cement grout, that is field proportion grout, hydraulic cement grout, batched at job site using water and predetermined portions of hydraulic cement aggregate and other ingredient. Filler. Let me see what's the status of our other site. Just a moment, please. Let me just see if what's doing. Can we do something now or no? This is some problem. Safe yesterday it was crashed, I think. Maybe it's not crashed now, I can't say. I think it's working maybe. It's still crashed. It's still crashed. It is error, create a new section and debug mode. Safety says PHPBP critical error, creating new session, debug mode, SQL error, 145 table, Safety India PHPB session is marked as crashed and should be repaired. Insert into session so it's gone. What happened? I don't know what was doing. Something serious. That's why it's not come back yet. It's not come back. This reason I think. It's not come back. No, it's not come back. So sorry, I placed this. No problem. Well, continue this. There's some problem in that side. I want to use that one. I have to do something along that. No problem. So we can say field proportion grout. We may say field. You can say field proportion grout. A hydraulic cement grout batched at job site. A hydraulic cement grout batched at job site using water and predetermined portions of hydraulic cement aggregate and ingredients. Filler, that is finely divided relatively inert material. Finely divided relatively inert material such as pulverized limestone, silica or colloidal substances added to Portland cement, paint, resin or other materials to reduce shrinkage, improve workability, reduce cost or reduce density. Material used to fill an opening in form. This is filler. One is finely divided, relatively inert material such as pulverized limestone, silica or colloidal substances added to Portland cement, paint, resin or other material to reduce shrinkage, improve workability, reduce cost or reduce density. Material used to fill an opening in form. Fillet is chamfer strip, as we said, 20 by 20 triangle. As 20 by 20 triangle, that's okay. And there's rectangle, no, this is a right angle. If you have a square triangle, you can see. Fillet and fill. Fin or fill? Fin, I think is fin. A narrow linear projection on a formed concrete surface resulting from mortar flowing into spaces in formwork a type of plate in concrete mixer drum. It is fin. I think it is right. Fin it is. Fin, yes, it is fin. A narrow linear. It is fin, and this is a narrow linear projection on a formed concrete surface resulting from mortar flowing into spaces in formwork. Also a type of blade in concrete mixer drum. Final curing. This is deliberate action taken. This is deliberate action. Also final curing. It is deliberate action taken between final finishing and termination of curing. Deliberate action taken between final finishing and termination of curing to reduce loss of water. Final curing, deliberate action taken between final finishing and termination of curing to reduce loss of water from surface of concrete and control temperature of concrete. Final pre-stress. Final pre-stress, and we have to see final setting, final setting. A degree of stiffening, that is a degree of stiffening of cement. Just give me a few minutes please, I'll come back. It's necessary to go for 5 minutes and come back. Within a couple of minutes I'll be back. Meanwhile you can see we can be here. Very judiciously we can move in and we'll be back in here. Only to come and finish please. Thanks for that. So let us conclude it now better, because it's already about 3 hours. So we said that this is besides final setting, which is a degree of stiffening of cementitious mixture. Final setting is a degree of stiffening of cementitious mixture greater than initial set, generally stated as an empirical value indicating time required cementitious mixture stiffen sufficiently. Right, let's say like this, it said that a degree of stiffening of cementitious mixture greater than initial setting, generally stated as an empirical value indicating time required for cementitious mixture to stiffen sufficient resistance and establish to an established degree for penetration of a weighted test device. And so again we say final setting, a degree of stiffening of cementitious mixture greater than initial setting, a degree of stiffening of cementitious mixture greater than initial setting, generally stated as an empirical value indicating time required for cementitious mixture to stiffen sufficiently to resist to an established degree penetration of a weighted test device. Final setting time. Time required for a freshly mixed cement, paste, mortar or concrete to achieve final set, final stress and final aggregate. Fine aggregate passing 9.5 mm sieve, almost entirely passing 4.75 mm sieve, and predominantly retained on 75 micron meter. Number 200, sieve. That portion of aggregate passing 4.575 mm 4 sieve and predominantly retained on 75 micro towards sieve, that is fine aggregate. So says aggregate passing 9.5 mm sieve, almost entirely passing 4.7 mm and predominantly retained on 75 micron meter. What it says, it says 2, that is portion of aggregate passing 4.75 mm, that's number 4, sieve and predominantly retained on 75 micrometer. Number 200, that's fine aggregate. Fine grained soil in which smaller grain sizes predominate, such as fine sand, silt and clay. Fineness, a measure of particle size is fineness. Fineness module, a measure of particle size is fineness. Fineness modulus, a factor obtained by adding total percentages of material in sample that are coarser than each of following sieve. A factor obtained by adding total percentages of material in sample that are coarser than each of following sieves. Cumulative percentages retained and dividing sum by 100. 150 micron number, that's number 100, 150 micrometer, 300 micrometer, 600 micrometer, 1.8 mm, 2.36 mm, 4.75 mm, 9.5 mm, 19.0 mm, 37.5 mm, 75 mm and 150 mm. This is, we can say, fineness, you can find by this. That's what we are talking of here. I repeat, this fineness modulus obtained by adding the total percentage of material in sample At a course of each of following CVs, cumulative percentage is retained, dividing sum by 100. One is 150 micrometer, 300 micrometer, 600 micrometers, 1.18 micrometers, 2.36 micrometers, 4.75 micrometers, 9.5 mm, 19 mm, 37.5 mm, 375 mm, and 150 mm. This is from below we start and go upwards, or otherwise means we start from this, from top, 150 mm, 75 mm, 37.19 mm, 95 mm, 4.75 mm, 2.36 mm, 1.8 mm, 600 micron, 300 micron, 150 micron, and finish a texture of concrete surface after consolidating and finishing operations have been performed. And we continue like this on this way. So, what I would say, we have reached page 30 or 31. I'm a little slow in this page because we have to provide information to all. Of course, it's not my information, I'm just trying to refer for deliberations, for purpose that it's better if as much as information is available to people. It's important for everyone that we should have this information. Very importantly for everyone, it can't be taken for granted, otherwise it's always very important that we have to think of this, and also we have to think of people are competent, they should be competent. It's not just by certification but by reality. By reality should be, and there is no way that it can be taken for granted that certificates means competency. It means real competency I'm talking, and then questions comes to quality. It becomes very important otherwise as well, how it works, and what is civil engineering, and what is related overlapping engineering, what is communication and coordination, where solution actually lies. I mean to say, communication and coordination is a process which takes to certain solutions, and specifications are important for quality contracts, quality in construction, quality in production, quality in manufacturing, quality in service, quality in education, quality in society, quality in individual, and quality communication coordination. It's required everywhere. Quality is required everywhere in every activity in life. In engineering, life is engineering based, which means that engineering is domain of super life. We have to realize these facts very commonly and have to respond in this way. Very important point we have. I think have to know Now, as we move forward, we have to understand this very well. Quality, there is no other way to explain. I can't exclusively trust one state of learning. We have to go to every state of learning: educational state, training stage, professional stage, expertise state, whatever, where we have to respond to. It's better if we think on this. Means not, you cannot measure your proficiency in terms of money earning, because efficiency cannot be measured. It's not susceptible to measurement. No, engineering can be measured in terms of money. It's something that helps society to grow, society to develop. You cannot scale out what is your package of money earning and what is your status. This concept has been created artificially. Quality of an individual, quality of a professional cannot be adjudicated or assessed based off money earning capacity. This absurd idea has been intentionally brought to spoil everything. Mind cannot be measured in terms of finances. Mind has many qualities. This is what I say. If you have hunger, if you have thirst for money, you cannot do engineering. Yes, if you have hunger for money, you can do management and you can do administration, you can do business and you can do whatever you want. But you cannot achieve quality, just like you cannot achieve character, you cannot achieve purity by money. And I would simply say we have to be clear about this. With this final message, I would like to close this talk today. Thank you very much. We'll meet again.